This film was made within a period of 4 years and is an attempt as a self-portrait by the extraordinary and highly gifted studio artist Jabro. Aspects of her life are here shown who, beside the daily work as a mother of 3 most beloved, healthy but demanding children, pursues her profession as sculptress, paintress, graphic artist, photographer and filmmaker. Luckily, all of her children are good-natured and of decisive help. Without their understanding and support, many enterprises could not have been realised. With the imagery of the artist Jabro shown here in her informative PR film of around 30 minutes' time, her own created, unique art style, graphic painting, results since 4 decades in a continuous, complementary, compositional structure. The captured angel for Christianity, trying to escape this room for the deceased with its functional bed for resting corpse, the bier, is symbolised trapped in a hopeless, no-way-out situation, visually underlined by the frame of Painting in Painting created by Jabro in 1977. This masterwork in oil, painted without airbrush, but thinnest real hair brushes only, needed 12 months to complete. Many layers were necessary to get a seamless impression of different grey shadows from dark to light. Allegory of Life, 1978, is the title of this masterwork, which in the connection of ancient and new forms of existence has symbolic meaning. Repeatedly, the theme of life's beginning, its middle-aged period and conclusion is addressed. For the creation of this worldwide unique graphic painting, no technical aids are employed, merely brush and pen, like all the other artwork created by Jabro. All steps are executed by hand, when, similar to the style of the ancient masters, several colour layers are put upon each other in a covering or transparent manner. Her trademark is not only the new created art style, graphic painting, nor the repeatedly shown framed paintings in painting, but also the symbolised breaking out of given boundaries, often shown in her masterworks of extraordinary quality in content and expression. The daily managed working process on this symbol-rich masterwork reached a time period of 5 months. As a critical and reflecting member of society and surrounding, the artist takes her bearings for the selection of her themes from daily events and what accompanies them. Social concern and political consciousness thereby find successful expression in her broad artwork, along with surrealistic elements. Catharsis, 1978, is the title of this stone print series of 2. Its content is questioning the genuine sense, content and expression of a so-called democratic society system, installed after the fall of a disgusting terror system. Cause is the fact that a highly positioned and feared but honoured personality of this bygone terror system nevertheless became effectively elected for a still much more higher position in that mentioned resurrected country, seemingly having exchanged its fallen terror system for the other, supposed good working democratic society system. The mother and child connection in this unique graphic painting from 1975, symbolising in antique dolls humans, is just one of many varied interhuman relations shown repeatedly in Jabro's broad artwork. This masterwork of Jabro, titled An Ideal World of the Past, 1976, must be seen as the key for understanding her intellectual, psychoanalytical graphic paintings, in a sense of visible and spiritual extremes such as reality and unreality. The content of these extremes is here symbolised in the differences of the art styles, graphic and painting, such as the left and right hand positioned curtains in this artwork, inviting the viewer's imagination of three-dimensionality. By means of intentionally incorporating irregularities within the doll room for the previous century, the so-called intact world of the past is being questioned. Here again, paintings in painting are representing JABRO'S trademark. In many works of the highly gifted artist, the sketched and painted dolls symbolically reveal people and their fates. All models for the doll portrait shown here belong to the antique toy collections of the artist. Affection for details are apparent and is somehow taken up and assimilated in all of her paintings. Like a thread, the many-layered complex theme of interhuman relations leads through the whole work of the artist JABRO, like in this impressive graphic painting titled Pierrot and Pierrette from 1975. Throughout her broad artwork, not only are aspects of today's forms of existence taken up, there are also borrowings from Greek mythology and inspiration from the multitude of Christianity subjects in the Old and New Testament. In contemplating the works of JABRO in respect to painting, modelling and graphic art, one notices again and again that represented objects somehow transgress given limits reaching into imaginary space, symbolising a breakout or stepping over each thinkable kind of boundary, such as in this graphic painting titled Double Cross, with pet cross spider albinos from 1975. Here again a series of two in JABRO'S extraordinary and unique blue graphic painting of 1975, Leader's Swan, is hidden in her cloth a network of finely drawn laces, but his neck and head are visible, comforting her, just another variant of interhuman relations, lent from the Greek ancient mythology. The comparing red graphic painting of 1975 is expressing hidden bugs wearing the same red-black structure as their surrounding. They are on the deadly way for defeating its target in the doll, the symbolised Homo sapiens. An intriguing network of sophisticated graphic veils the detailed painted bathing doll, Frozen Charlotte, of the previous century, created in 1976-77. As a framed painting in painting, the doll is carrying in her arm the portrait of the artist JABRO, at the age of 3 years only. On this masterpiece, 6 months of work in all had been spent. It is called by JABRO the Third Cry from 1976 and has been painted mainly in thematically related cold colour shades, except for the illustration of Christ Jesus, where warm shades of red dominate, and which is painted in the kitschy style popular at the turn of the century, intended as a spotlight thrown on the questionable doctrine institution, church, and its role in past and present, in contrary relations to the very simple and glass-clear message of the Lord. All of these different portrayals, 3 of them again shown in framed paintings in painting, embrace a homogeneous theme which is symbolic for the multiple lack of interhuman feelings in today's impersonal, freezing high-tech world, representing our deadly atomic bomb century. Eat or Die from 1976 is the questionable life philosophy of our modern high-tech society. Made visible in this JABRO masterwork are different symbols, such as the choice of colours and motives, like the rose as framed painting in painting. Here again the graphic painting is kept in mainly cold colours and shades, symbolising shadows of death, except the rose's warm red colour, animating imaginations of life and love. The series of 2 with subject death mask from 1974 is shown in 2 positions, front and side, symbolising another version of JABRO'S subjective sublimated life philosophy. Life's material and spiritual values, sense and content are questioned everywhere up to ad absurdum by humans themselves in opposite paradox situations. They are here symbolised, such as the death mask from Side, copy of a corpse and accompanied by an English antique wax doll. Just another kind of copy and symbol of living humans, seemingly alive with its unusual, scary and expressive eyes. Well, here is the same death mask, frontal, also copy of a corpse, but has unrealistic features, such as the opening eyes from a living person seemingly being alive, what's contrary to the process of decaying, shown impressively at the lower part of the mask's face, symbolising another macabre contrary fact, like deadly death's lively working process of destruction, itself a further kind of paradox, on an, in fact, unchangeable moment situation such as the death mask at the time of its copy from a corpse. Here another variant of Life's Clownery from 1974. The first time Jabro has shown on this unique graphic painting more than 50% of graphic, in form of a finely drawn lacework around the painted head and its hat. JABRO'S Masterworks are representing several times, but differently, framed paintings in painting, like 3 of them here drawn in separate parcels on the bottom of this unusual, interesting graphic painting from 1974. It represents a series of 4 relating to each other in a subjective, sublimated expression of interhuman relations, such as the domestic unpaid or underpaid role on all levels of life women are expected to take over in a men-ruled society. The portrait, painted in acrylic, represents an antique French doll from circa 1880, symbolising female in a broad sense and content. Life and fertility are symbolised several times in this and the following 2 artworks in a series of 4, showing the female's lower body parts, with concentration on its life-spending function, symbolising one of many interhuman relations, bathing in water, just another symbol for life's fertility. In this graphic painting, the contrary but cycling themes of life and death are symbolised again with the one-dimensional drawn frozen Charlotte, an antique German doll of circa 1860, representing a child in the form of a cold and stiff porcelain reproduction. Contrarily kept is the 3-dimensional grey-painted female body's cutout in life-spending water, with concentration on its life-preserving upper body part, covered like a second skin with the water's sensual tender movements. The 4th graphic painting of this series of 4 is showing the whole female body, but without head, symbolising the questionable one-way imagination, an understanding about women's destination mainly suppressed in a men-ruled society. The lower body parts are here again representing visible-made interhuman relations, seen out of each point of view. The upper body parts are symbolising feeding's preserving survival. This statement is accompanied by a German character baby doll from circa 1910, out of JABRO'S antique toy collection. This graphic painting from 1978 deals with the subject metamorphosis, symbolising the transmutation regarding the double meaning of the word game in German Puppe, meaning doll, and pupa or chrysalis to the implied butterfly. Its graphical lacework is representing most of the artwork. Only head, hands and iris flower are painted. Normally, JABRO'S graphic paintings are mainly half-to-half handled. In this JABRO masterwork from 1979, life's roundabout is shown with 3 symbols, such as begin of life, see small child and lily, the ancient Christian symbol for virginity in broad sense and content, further life's hard survival fight symbolised in the boxing gloves and pictured in the framed painting in painting, death appears, also as framed painting in painting within the unique death mask of a young beautiful girl found drowned in the Seine near Paris at the end of the 19th century. She became famous as the Unknown of the Seine, and the secret's uncertainty of her fate has touched Europe, probably because of her unusual, breathtaking Mona Lisa smile, seemingly having melted away death's life-taking horror in just a very impressive manner. In this masterwork, JABRO successfully has subjective sublimated the reproduction of this death mask with its unique smile. The documentation of her first, actually 4 solo exhibitions in a film, a different emphasis has been chosen each time. At first, the subject of graphic painting was predominant. In this second solo exhibition, a small part of the antique dolls from the JABRO collections is introduced. This is to indicate a close correlation between the work of the artist and her private sphere. As a trained sculptress, she studied 6 years at the well-known Academy of the Arts in Germany. JABRO has no difficulties in restoring her own antique dolls. These dolls were given to her as gifts by relatives and friends, and also were found at antique and flea markets, doll auctions or private sales. Often these lovely creatures were not always in today's attractive condition. From time to time it proved necessary to insert sleeping eyes of glass, to renew stretch bands between the joints, or even complete legs had to be replaced. Many cracks in the bodies had to be carefully patched and painted over with a matching colour, etc. Several of the dolls were also undressed when bought, and the artist hand-sewed many dresses from old fabrics, according to suitable models from the corresponding old times found in books and magazines. In 1977, an unusual photo picture book was created in close cooperation with her two eldest children. Almost all of the background paintings were made by her daughter, and some of the text passages were contributed by her brother, who was 7 years younger. At the third solo exhibition in a representative historical building for international guests of honour, the film's emphasis was focused upon the presented exhibition works in connection with the interior architecture. This portrait, in relief of the composer Richard Wagner, was created totally uninfluenced by school or parents at the age of only 14 years. The idea of freedom, equality, fraternity has in the past and present time been differently interpreted by many political ideologies. In the sense of humanistic thought, the intricacy of perception of its contents and their realisation is elaborated in this subsequent work. The fourth solo exhibition of the artist in a museum consisted of a comprehensive composition of graphic paintings, graphics, her first art photo book for children and adults, in original prints, her antique doll collection and sculptures. At this exhibition, the emphasis was focused upon the presentation of the sculptural works of JABRO, who, as already mentioned, had concluded a 6-year-long academic education in the art of sculpture. All the exhibited stone sculptures are handcrafted without machines. Each of these organic formations is differently symbolising fertility. In these sculptures representing JABRO'S little decline in different variations on different metal formations, 3 philosophical conceptions are to be optically appreciated. The first sculpture contains the endeavour to approach a given focal point from different directions. The other formation is supposed to illustrate a rising above given boundaries. The third sculpture symbolises an ascent, simultaneously exemplifying a descent. Again, for the completely hand-carved sculptures of marble and granite, organic self-contained formations had been selected and partially painted. Even the footings of the works had been incorporated into the process of modelling. The sculptress JABRO regarded it as important to complete the surfaces all around in such a way that they formed a self-contained and complementary sculptural figure. The private sphere of the artist is closely interwoven with that of her children and the consequent duties of mother and housewife. The subject of child and doll appealed to her from childhood. Instead of the stiff, pretentious celluloid dolls during the 40s and 50s, she dreamed of a warm, soft, lifelike doll baby. She fulfilled her dream at the age of 18 with the acquisition of this doll, named Schorsch, which became the first playmate of her little darling daughter. By means of the too numerous, lovingly selected dolls for her little daughter, who actually was interested rather in living animals, railways and cars, the artist conceded her suppressed desire, which from then on was consciously directed into a collecting passion for antique dolls. Thus, quite a few of her dolls became portrait models in her paintings. By means of the pictorial representation of one or the other doll, JABRO experienced the, for her, important artistic sensation of now possessing this item twice. The combination of the three very pleasant, responsible, interesting but stressful occupations of mother, educator and that of continuously active artist demanded very much love, idealism, patience and sacrifice. Since the artist has for years done the necessary time-consuming publicity herself, it is often necessary to extend her working time till far into the night. The combined jobs of mother, partner, housewife, artist and manager therefore very seldom allow a really regenerating, undisturbed leisure time. For the creation of a lithography, firstly the drawing must be painted on top of the highly smoothed surface of a dense limestone. The artist utilises three different techniques. For drawing of very fine lines, a corresponding pen and special ink are employed. For drawing and filling of large areas, litho pencils of different thicknesses are used. Out of the black surfaces, then very fine lines are excavated with the help of a corresponding engraver's tool, thus creating an exciting contrast to the graphic lines drawn with the pen. After finishing the drawing on the limestone, the printing process is prepared. The first step consists of dusting the limestone surface with talc powder, which binds the drawing chalk in order to prevent the drawing from blurring during the consecutive steps. Subsequently, the limestone surface is coated with a thin layer of rubber arabicum. Then an etching solution for the stone is mixed. The etching solution consists of a mixture of rubber arabicum and diluted nitric acid. In order to test the reaction of the limestone on the etching mixture, a remote spot off the drawing is dried and a droplet of mixture is applied. If bubble-forming reaction occurs, the stone can then be etched. The rubber coats of steps 2 and 3 are now rinsed off with water, and following this a new layer of rubber arabicum is sparsely applied and then polished. After polishing, the whole drawing on the limestone is washed out with turpentine until only the oil picture of the drawing is visible. The next step is the dyeing of the stone surface with printing colour. By repeated rolling, the stone absorbs printing dye after its surface has been wetted with water. This means that the oil picture repels water but absorbs printing dye. The principle: water repels oil, oil repels water. So after each rolling process, the stone continues to absorb water, thus repelling printing dye in undesired areas of the picture. As soon as the stone has accumulated enough dye, after around 3 to 4 rolling steps, the first print can be made. During the initial printing phase, the oil picture absorbs even more dye until the original drawing is completely visible. For the printing process of the lithography, a special paper is used. By lowering the lever of the printing press, the roll is firmly squeezed against the stone and the printing paper on top. By rotating the crank of the printing press, the stone, resting on a small sledge, is advanced under the roll, applying even pressure. After termination of this final processing step, the ready lithography can be taken off the limestone. The limited and hand-signed edition of these prints consists of only 10 copies. Time is running too fast. By now it's 1982. At the end of 1980, the artist Jabro has given birth to her third child, a beautiful baby boy, gorgeous and most beloved, such as his older sister and brother. See Jabro's website at www.jabroart.com and see the section Family Album. Not only the family, but also the antique doll collection has expanded. The distinctive charm of the Jabro collection of antique dolls is due to the fact that the spectator is introduced to so many different elements, such as metal, wood, porcelain, clay, gypsum, papier-mâché, wax, leather, felt and hand-woven flax. The multitude of companies and doll manufacturers represented, including their patents of successive improvements of doll bodies and heads, is also of cultural historical importance. Thus, the museum collection gives an oversight about the development of the German doll industry of the last 250 years. This is a group of 3 very beautiful wooden dolls, originating from around 1760, 1830 and 1860. The doll in the centre is called Queen Anne, and can be regarded as the pride of any larger collection. At the round table there is a group of automatic dolls which are just being wound up by Jabro's children. After being cranked up with a key, they move forward independently. The first of these automatic dolls, introduced here, originate from North America, and in 1862 patents were applied for with the designation Autoperi Patetikos. In producing this documentary, the artist Jabro combined all roles in one, that is, scriptwriter, director, cutter, movie maker and film producer.